Okay, so it has finally happened. We are having a official Senate hearing into the allegations of election fraud. So I honestly didn't think this was going to happen. I thought it was going to stay at these other hearings that they were having and just keep making decisions based on that. And after watching this full hearing, I can without a doubt say that by far out of all of the hearings, this is without a doubt the best hearing. They hear from both sides of the argument, which is brilliant, and they don't interrupt one another during this hearing. They don't talk over one another. They don't ask dumb bullshit questions that lead nowhere. They don't make statements to the witness, which is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen, which is what happened in the previous fucking hearing. In this hearing here, it is without a doubt the best fucking hearing because they sit the people down and they ask them legitimate questions. And I mean legitimate. These questions that you're about to hear over the next few episodes are brilliant, and it helps me understand what the fuck was going on and why there is such a discrimination between the left side just completely ignoring it all and the right side wanting to know what the fuck is going on. So this hearing, thanks to Senator Johnson, thanks mate, like genuinely, thank you for doing this. It's fucking weird that I live in a reality where the base assumption is that we don't need to investigate voter fraud, but for whatever fucking strange reason it is, I live in the reality where that's not the norm. So I have to go out of my way to say thank you to this senator. Senator Johnson, thank you for doing this. Genuinely, this is going to make a massive difference on the viewpoints of American citizens thinking that their voting actually fucking matters. So without this guy making this hearing possible, we wouldn't have this fucking Senate hearing. So again, Senator Johnson, thank you very much for going out of your way to make sure that the election was legitimate and wasn't fucking rigged. And if it is rigged, then you're going to do something about it. So this guy needs our fucking praise. If you can send this guy emails and stuff or letters thanking him, please do so. This guy is a fucking legend. Okay? Let's just jump straight into it. This is great. This is his opening statement. So this is just a brief intro into it, and then we'll get onto the actual questioning of the witnesses after this. But this is a nice little intro, and it helps put everything into a bit more of perspective. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Let me start the hearing by saying this hearing should not be controversial. It really shouldn't be. This is something I think we all should want to restore the confidence in our election system. A week ago, when I gave notice to this hearing, there were more standing issues and court cases than there are today. But even though courts have handed down decisions and the Electoral College has awarded Joe Biden 306 electoral votes, a large percentage of the American public does not believe the November election results are legitimate. Mm-hmm. This is not a sustainable state of affairs in our democratic republic. There are many reasons for this high level of skepticism. It starts with today's climate of hyperpartisanship, which was only exacerbated by the persistent efforts to delegitimize the results of the 2016 election. The corrupt investigation and media coverage of the Russian collusion hoax reduced faith in our institutions, and the ongoing suppression and censorship of conservative perspective by biased media and social media adds fuel to the flames. Senator Grassley's and my investigation and report on the conflicts of interest and foreign financial entanglements of the Biden family is just one example of how media suppression can and does affect the outcome of an election. It is both amazing and galling that all of a sudden, post-election, this has become a news story and a scandal worthy of investigation. With less than a month left in my chairmanship of this committee, the examination of irregularities in the 2020 election will obviously be my last investigation and last hearing as chairman. But oversight into election security should continue into the next Congress because we must restore confidence in the integrity of our voting system. As I said at the start, this effort should be bipartisan. In my statement announcing this hearing, I stated its goal was to, quote, resolve suspicions with full transparency and public awareness. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. As it fucking should be. That should be the fucking norm. But as I said before, for whatever fucking reason, we live in the reality where it's not the fucking norm to investigate voter fraud. Insane. Insane. Again, Senator Johnson, man, thank you. You're a fucking legend. Genuinely a fucking legend. You're going to be remembered for this. Without a doubt. Thank you.
That is what good oversight can accomplish. Unfortunately, Senator Schumer and Peters ignored my statement and instead chose to politically attack me in this hearing. As I commented in last Thursday's hearing on early treatment of COVID, closed-mindedness is a root cause of many problems we face. And just a quick aside about that hearing, about 7 days ago, it was attacked, unfortunately boycotted by Democrat members of this committee, except for a rather politically charged opening statement by Senator Peters. Two of those witnesses, two of those doctors who have the courage to treat COVID patients, told me, I think one of them told the committee, they're Democrats. And they were very disappointed by that boycotting by Democrats, that closed-mindedness, that politically charged opening statement. But to prove the worthiness and the value of that hearing, Dr. Corey, one of those Democrats, a person shown immense courage in treating successfully COVID patients, his 10-minute opening statement has received more than 4.4 million views in just the last 7 or 8 days. Obviously, Americans need that information. They have the right to know about early treatment, and they have the right to try early treatment. So my last pitch before I return to this hearing, if you or somebody you know gets COVID, seek a doctor. Again, you need doctor participation in this, but find a doctor who will at least consider and talk to you about early treatment. On with this hearing. In preparation for this hearing, I asked my staff to find out as much as they could about basic election mechanics, controls, and data flow. Much of the suspicion comes from a lack of understanding how everything works and how much variety there is in the way each precinct, county, and state conducts their elections. Even though decentralization makes it more difficult to understand the full process, it also dramatically enhances the security of our national elections. In addition to the witnesses testifying today, we spoke to state and local officials, as well as suppliers of election machinery, equipment, and data. I believe the alleged irregularities can be organized into 3 basic categories. Number 1, lax enforcement or violations of election laws and controls. 2, allegations of fraudulent votes and ballot stuffing. And 3, corruption of voting machines and software that might be programmed to add or switch votes. In the time we had, it was impossible to fully identify and examine every allegation. But many of these irregularities raise legitimate concerns, and they do need to be taken seriously. So here's a brief summary of what we did learn. And a lot of this should provide American public comfort in the integrity of our election system. First, multiple controls do exist to help ensure election integrity. Voter registration rolls and election logs for both in-person and absentee vote balloting are used to verify eligible voters and help prevent fraudulent voting. But it is not a perfect system, as we will hear in testimony today. We have increased the percentage of votes using paper ballots from 82% in 2016 to 95% in 2020, and a lot of that had to do with the efforts of CISA and Chris Krebs, recognizing that was a vulnerability in our system, not having that.
For those of you who don't know, Chris Krebs is the guy that Trump fired. I don't know why he fired him. I don't believe Trump has made a statement on that. But he is the guy in charge of CISA, which is in charge of the security of the United States, IT security, all that kind of stuff. So, Senator Johnson thinks that this guy did an incredible job. The president obviously disagrees, so kind of make your own opinion up about that guy. But, having this guy here, Senator Johnson, praise him, that's no small feat. This guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He is very intelligent, and he seems to be wanting to know the actual truth. So I respect this guy's opinion. So if he's given props to this guy, Chris, then that guy gets a little bit of a bump up, a bit more respect from me because of Senator Johnson. But I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that is fully aware that he was fired by Trump. Okay, so again, that probably didn't happen for no fucking reason. There's probably a very good reason as to why he got fired there.
Audit trail. So this is a significant improvement in providing a backup audit trail, but only if full or statistically valid recounts occur. Optical scanners, ballot marking machines, and tabulators should not be connected to the internet during voting.
No shit.
But we found some do have the capability of being connected, and there are allegations that some were. Once voting ends, those machines print out a paper report and also transmit voting data in digital form in 2 separate data streams, from precinct to the county level and then the state level. The first data stream, this is the official stream, is sent to the official state election management systems, and the second, unofficial stream is to the unofficial media reporting system through companies like Edison Research and the Associated Press. There is no uniform method of transmission. It is not fully automated, and thousands of human beings are involved in the process. So human error does occur, but that is what paper backups and post-election canvassing is designed to catch. Today we will hear testimony on how election laws in some cases were not enforced, and how fraudulent voting did occur, as it always does. The question that follows is whether the level of fraud would alter the outcome of the election. This year, in dozens of court cases, through the certification process in each state, and by the Electoral College vote, the conclusion has collectively been reached that it would not. However, lax enforcement, denying effective bipartisan observation of the complete election process, and failure to be fully transparent or conduct reasonable audits has led to heightened suspicion. The most difficult allegations to assess involve vulnerabilities in voting machines and the software used. In order to effectively determine the extent to which voting machines were subject to nefarious intrusion or other vulnerabilities, computer science experts must be given the opportunity to examine these allegations. This is a complex issue that has been under congressional scrutiny for years. Since 2018, I'm aware of 3 oversight letters requesting information from the main suppliers of voting machines. This oversight is focused on Election Systems and Software LLC, Dominion Voting Systems, Inc., and Hart InterCivic, Inc. Today we have a witness from the Election Assistance Commission, which certifies voting machines, to describe what has been done and what more can be done to address any vulnerabilities. On March 7, 2018, it was reported that Senators Klobuchar and Shaheen asked, quote, major vendors of U.S. voting equipment whether they had allowed Russian entities to scrutinize their software, saying the practice could allow Moscow to hack into American election infrastructure. Then last year, on March 26, 2019, Senators Klobuchar, Warner, Reid, and Ranking Member Peters wrote, quote, the integrity of our elections remain under serious threat. Our nation's intelligence agencies continue to raise the alarm that foreign adversaries are actively trying to undermine our system of democracy and will target the 2020 elections as they did in 2016 and 2018 elections.
And as they will into the future. I mean, if the CIA, which is America, is trying to get control of other countries' elections, then it stands to reason that other countries are going to try and control the US election. That goes without saying. I'm sure that happens here in Australia. I'm sure it happens in England, Japan, China, Russia. I'm sure it fucking happens everywhere. Other countries are trying to control other countries. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it always will be. And I mean, we could get a one world government or something in the future, which, I mean, there's pros and cons to that, of course. But until that day happens, which, again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but until that happens, this is always going to be an issue. One country trying to control another country is always going to exist until the end of time, till the end of the human species. As far as we remain humans, this is always going to be an issue. It is always going to be a power play. Always. Always. There is nothing you can do about it. It is part of the human condition.
A combination of older legacy machines and newer systems, vulnerabilities in each present a problem for the security of our democracy, and they must be addressed. And then on December 6, 2019, Senators Warren, Klobuchar, Wyden, and Congressman Pocan wrote, quote, "We are particularly concerned that secretive and trouble-plagued companies owned by private equity firms and responsible for manufacturing and maintaining voting machines and other election administration equipment, quote, have long skimped on security in favor of convenience, leaving voting systems across the country prone to security problems. Moreover," again, this is a quote from that letter, "moreover, when state and local officials work on replacing antiquated machines, many continue to run an old software that will soon be outdated and more vulnerable to hackers." The letter continues. In 2018 alone, voters in South Carolina were reporting machines that switched their votes after they'd inputted them. Scanners were rejecting paper ballots in Missouri, and busted machines were causing long lines in Indiana. In addition, these senators write, researchers recently uncovered previously undisclosed vulnerabilities in nearly 3 dozen back-end election systems in 10 states. And just this year, after the Democratic candidate's electronic tally showed he received an improbable 146 votes out of 55,000 cast in a Pennsylvania state judicial election in 2019, the county's Republican chairwoman said, "Nothing went right on election day. Everything went wrong. That's a problem. These problems threaten the integrity of our election."
Of course.
Now, again, those were 3 letters from Democrat members of Congress.
Wow.
Now, maybe I missed it, but I don't recall the media or anyone else accusing these 8 congressional Democrats of indulging in, quote, quackery and conspiracy theories, unquote, quote, or their letters of being a, quote, ridiculous charade, unquote, as Senator Schumer did when he used those exact same words attacking me in this hearing on the Senate floor. The fact that our last 2 presidential elections have not been accepted as legitimate by large percentages of the American public is a serious problem that threatens our republic. I do not say that lightly.
Yep.
This hearing is part of what should be ongoing congressional oversight that is meant to transparently address that serious problem. So before I turn it over to Senator Peters, I do want to remark this is my last hearing as chairman. I want to express the fact that I think it's been an honor and privilege to serve. I think our track record, even though a couple last hearings, some of these investigations have grown to be a little rancorous, I regret that, but I think we really have an excellent track record of achievement. Over 100 bills passed and signed into law in this committee, 200 others passed by the committee, maybe not signed into law, but that can act as a foundation for future legislation. And so again, I just want to thank everybody for working together, staff. It's really been an honor and privilege. And looking ahead, I want to acknowledge Senator Carper had a very kind phone call to me just an hour ago. We'll probably be working in some capacity as chairman and ranking member in the committee on the permanent subcommittee investigations. And I look forward to trying to find those areas of agreement of things we can look into together to give the American people the information they need to know as it relates to government and other issues. So, Senator Carper, thanks for calling it. With that, I'll turn it over to Senator Carper.
Wow. That's quite sad to hear that this is his last hearing. This guy is, from the way he handles this hearing, I mean, he's a fucking legend. Very sad to see that he will be leaving the Senate. I mean, fuck, the Senate deserves him. You know, the Senate needs him. So to see someone this good leave, I mean, I hope he's getting replaced by someone equally as good. I mean, probably not, because it's not the way the world works, but yeah, quite a shame. Anyway, stay tuned for the next episodes. They're going to bring the witnesses forward, and we're going to hear from them. One of the witnesses is the CEO of Dominion. So stay tuned for that one. That's quite interesting to hear what he has to fucking say about this. We're also going to hear from some members from Arizona and a few other states talking about how they have been affected by this quote-unquote fraudulent activities. So stay tuned. Lots more to come. And again, this is by far the best hearing that I've covered so far. All the other hearings, in comparison to this one, are shit. They're just shit. People talking over one another, people making useless fucking statements that don't in any way play any sort of relevance to the actual fucking hearing that is going on. So this hearing, by far the best, without any fucking doubt. All right. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share it around. Pass it to everyone. This hearing is needed to be heard by everybody. All right. Stay tuned for the next couple of episodes, and we'll keep you updated. All right. See you later.